Wanna. She's got a lot of good and bad memories.
Yeah.
That was
Rebecca
the
did
all
that.
red side.
So you were born on the 24th of July. My father-in-law was born on the 24th of July, and his daughter.
I always thought the parades they had were for me.
They were.
And Grandma made me
All the
upside down
patriots.
pineapple cake.
Ooh, that sounds good. I love pineapple. I didn't know you were born in Manti. That's awesome. Regional grandmother Bessie Amelia Allred Larson. West First South. Family home long gone. A high school football field now stands in its place. That's cool. So your house will always be marked.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I used to have a girlfriend in Manti when I was in high school. I drove down there, and she was in the track team, and I was in track. That's how we met. So that's neat to find out you were born and raised there.
Well, Grandma sent my Uncle Claire. The temple grounds are different than they are now.
Mm-hmm.
To get the oil to bless me with after I was born, he fell on his bike and almost castrated himself.
Oh.
So the story goes.
Gunnison, 13 miles away, switching trains to the railroad. Grandmother always referring to her husband. Yeah. I like that name, Will. I wonder if Peter named his kid Will for any particular reason. If it might have been after Grandpa Will. One day Will would walk to Gunnison through the morning to Friday. 13 miles back. Man, that guy was in shape. You're walking 26 miles a day. That's...
No, he did it on the weekend. He'd like
Oh.
leave on Friday
Oh,
to
okay.
go back to Manti, and then I guess Sunday night or Monday morning go
Okay.
back to Gunnison.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll talk to you in the morning then.
Huh?
I'll talk to you in the morning then.
Yeah. You don't need to call. I'm
Alright.
here.
Okay. Nice
Good
to meet
deal.
you.
Good to meet you too. Have a great day.
You too.
So James and Bessie had 3 children: Jay, William, Lisa, Bessie,
Lila.
or is it Lila? Oh
Lila.
yeah.
That's my mother.
I'm
Your
not the best
grandmother.
reader. So Grandma Lila. Okay.
Adam isn't a good reader either.
Really?
One of the twins.
Yeah.
Karen's boy.
And I have horrible reading comprehension. I can read you something and then
That's Adam.
it's tough.
Takes him about 3 times to conquer.
Easy. Yeah, easy 3
That's
times.
what Adam had.
Yeah. Carolyn's mother was Lila Larson, just 16 years old when Carolyn was born. She became pregnant with Carolyn while dating John Lyle Larson. John and Lila were married March 28, 1936, before Carolyn's birth. Her father, John Lyle Larson, was 10 years older and worked for a Forest Service. So my daughter's dating a Hispanic guy that's 10 years older than her right now. Well, about 9 and some change. He also served in the Navy during World War II. That's cool. I like that.
You want me to read it to you?
Yeah.
You can see the pictures.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Carolyn remembers traveling with her parents on the red car train. They lived in Murray, Utah for a time in a 2-story apartment located above a mercantile. Carolyn remembers going down to the street begging passers-by for pennies, which she used to buy lollipops at the store. Her mother worked plucking chickens during this time. Many years later, Carolyn was in Murray at a doll show and saw the building was still standing. Lila also worked as a maid at the New House Hotel, 12-story hotel built in 1912 at southwest corner of 400 South Main Street in Salt Lake City. This elegant hotel was demolished in June of 1983. Lila also worked as a hotel maid at other establishments. Carolyn remembers singing Indian Love Call at one of the hotels and getting a piece of pumpkin pie. Once she accidentally locked herself in the bathroom and had to be rescued by firemen. Carolyn was 4 or 5 years old. Lila and John had a stormy marriage. John was abusive. This always throws me because Will was called him Lyle, even though it's John Lyle.
Oh, okay.
John was abusive. Husband broke Lila's jaw on at least 2 different occasions. Carolyn also remembers being beaten by her father. In 40, Lila became pregnant and was forced by her husband to give up a child. Carolyn remembers traveling by train with her parents and a new baby brother. She stayed at the hotel in a Murphy bed in a large mirror.
She was left alone for a time. When her parents returned, they were without the baby. They told Carolyn he had gone to heaven. Family members were told that the baby died. This was not true, however, as he was given in adoption to Stanley and Lucille Butcher. Harris Butcher, the brother to Stanley, believed to have been the birth father of Lila's baby. The baby was named Daniel Thomas Butcher and remained with his adopted parents, who were unable to have children. It was Daniel that was born with red hair. Wow, I didn't know that either.
One year later, in 91, Lila and John had a son whom they named Kendall. He died at 6 or 7 months old. Man, I can't go through this. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's painful past. The cause of the death has been thought to be in SIDS. On the night he died, Carolyn remembers being woke by her mother and told to get dressed. The family hurried downstairs where taxis were waiting. They arrived at the hospital where Kendall had been laid to bed. Carolyn thought it looked like he was sleeping. When Carolyn found out that he had died, she told her grandmother that there was no God. Bessie replied that all people were sent to earth to do a job, and when they had done it, they returned to heaven. Kendall was buried in Manti ceremony. Carolyn remembers her father wearing his Navy uniform at the funeral. Shortly after Kendall's death, Lila left John. Carolyn remembers riding on the Pony Express bus, Los Angeles, California. Lila had various jobs, including waitress, maid, Rosie the Riveteer during World War II, which she was built planes and ships for troops overseas. On one occasion, Carolyn remembers her mother working as a waitress at the Warner Brothers commissary. The evenings that she would come and cast her tips on the bed, and Carolyn would count the money. Carolyn also remembers her mother was hit by a car while crossing the street. Lila was hospitalized for a short time and carried a Y scar on her forehead from the accident. During this time, Carolyn lived with several different families. She doesn't know if these were friends of her mother's or boarding schools. At one point, Carolyn was a member of the Brownie Troop on the Girl Scouts activities. She was selling oranges and met Bill and Emily Wood. Bill was a shoe repairman, and he had survived in the Navy. He used to tease Carolyn by calling her Banana Nose. The Woods lived in Bellflower, California, and made arrangements for Carolyn to live with them. They wanted to adopt Carolyn, but Lila would not give permission. Carolyn lived on and off the Woods for about 5 years. Carolyn recalls attending Brown School for the Girls in Glendale, California. Well,
I can go back now. We're through the dumb part.
let's see. Okay, yeah.
Carolyn remembers traveling back to Utah with her mother to visit family when she was about 9 or 10. She lived in a house she and Jay had built, Grandma had built. Carolyn remembers a big coal stove and seeing Claire in an army uniform. Carolyn loved Claire. Her grandmother Beth is now living in Provo, working for Dixon Taylor Russell Apartments. As a seamstress, she made $1 an hour. She was the first person to sew plastic shower curtains. On this trip, Carolyn visited with her father. In 1950, moved to Oxnard with her mother and new husband, George Coffey. George was lean, handsome, athletic, and intelligent. He worked as an engineer scientist on radar technology. In 1952, Kathleen's sister was born, George was transferred to Patchogue, New York with his work, and the family moved with him. That's kind of backwards, but it's okay. During the 80s, Lila became interested in making dolls. She met Bill O'Connor, the famous window designer in New York, who helped Lila sculpt her first doll. Carolyn owns many of the dolls made by Lila. She has also given several to Lila's children and grandchildren. I think we went through that part, didn't we?
Yep. Yeah, we went through it.
While living in New York, Carolyn spent the summer in Amityville, Long Island, working as a nanny and a maid for a wealthy family named Reddington. She polished silver, tended the children, and saw to other household chores. She also learned to make homemade potatoes. Shortly after George was transferred back to California, his family moved again. George and Lila lived in Camarillo. Carolyn lived in Lakewood with her girlfriend Pauline, and mother Lily, and later Pauline and Lillian moved back to Canada, and Carolyn went back to live with her parents. She slept in a small trailer located behind her parents' one-bedroom duplex. Carolyn worked as a waitress at Carmen's Cafe in Camarillo, California. At age 16, Carolyn met and married Dick Adams. Dick was 20 and fought in the Korean War. Carolyn loved Dick's family, especially his parents. They were married in the LDS Church in Oxnard by the local bishop. Carolyn had helped in the construction of this church. Many of Carolyn's family came out of state to attend the wedding, including Grandma Betsy, who was now married to her third husband, Keith. Carolyn was not able to afford a traditional wedding dress. Instead, she wore a strapless ice blue gown, but it had a theme.
Yeah. You're classic.
Dick arrived at the wedding intoxicated. Carolyn was abandoned and ashamed during the ceremony and terrified on her wedding night. I was a virgin.
Right.
And they counted the months back in those days when that first baby came.
Right, yeah.
On the QT, honey, sex was awful. Mother never told me anything.
Right, right.
I didn't know anything.
Yeah. That's something that parents should talk about with their kids.
Well,
You know. But back then, you just didn't do it.
Other than the little gossip you hear from your boyfriends and you grow up, you know.
Right, that's all